So I will tell you my story where I was at for Reign of Chaos when it came out. And then we're gonna look at some reviews of contemporary reviews when Warcraft 3 came out. I'd like to check some cinematics of Reign of Chaos to celebrate and party. And then we're gonna play some community FFAs. Reign of Chaos, of course. I asked the wonderful gentlemen of W3 Champions if they could upload some Reign of Chaos maps. And if I'm not mistaken, many of these maps were the FFA map right during Warcraft 3's inception. So we're talking, I have to sneak peek here, Harvest Moon, Last Temple, Mystic Isles, Nullwood, Scorched Basin, Stromgarde, Swamp of Sorrows, Battleground, and the Crucible. So let's begin at the beginning. Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos came out July 3rd, 2002. Probably a smart day to come out, because that is, if I'm not mistaken, always a national holiday in USA, or a preceding a national holiday in the 4th of July, which also happens to be this guy's birthday. So now it's my national holiday as well. That's today, yeah. 20 years ago, Warcraft 3 came out and changed many of our lives. But when Warcraft came out, I had already had some experience with it. It started with those gameplay magazines, reviews essentially. I was subscribed to some paper magazines, PC Gameplay or Power Unlimited or something, which were the main two in the Netherlands. And I had seen some early alpha screenshots, Warcraft 3 alpha screenshots, and it looked damn cool. Warcraft 3 alpha and beta screenshots. Yeah, there's a couple of here in this album. That's insane. Check this out. And I thought it was so cool. It's an RTS. At the time, I had played Diablo 1. I had played StarCraft 1. And I was a huge fan of both. Of course, Blizzard had an impeccable name. And Warcraft 3 was highly anticipated. This was going to be an RTS RPG hybrid. And early screenshots looked lit. With the first 3D game, with a top-down view, but much more zoomed in, notably, than it is these days. We can recognize the Tauren, the Headhunter, I guess the Warchief, Thrall. There's Samuro, the Blade Master, and of course, the Raider. It had already kind of a World of Warcraft-esque feeling, though I guess WoW graphics are better than this. And WoW, of course, eventually was built inside the engine of Warcraft 3. Well, this is some cool art. This still draws me in. I still love the art style, even though it was made lower resolution in order to be able to fit on people's drives, on CDs. And even now, the original models that they had available for Warcraft 3 are better than what is shown here. Even in the current version of Warcraft 3 Classic, those models exist better. They were made more blocky in order to fit on people's hard disks. And that's still something I hope for that we can get for Reforged. But let's not talk too much about Reforged. This looks absolutely lit. I don't know what kind of meeting is going on here between Samuro and Uther. As far as I know, this never happened. Meeting on some kind of mountain top with Samuro speaking with Uther. But maybe it did. Did it in the campaign? I can't say that I necessarily remember. But this looks so cool. I was interested in Warcraft 3 a lot. Oh, I remember this one just from custom maps. He's not actually part of one-on-one Classic. Nice hot tub in the back. I'll be a hot tub streamer if this is the setting. This must be the knight, though he looks somewhat reminiscent of a archmage since he's carrying a staff. Looks more like a staff than a lance. And this little horseman, the human horseman, has a flail. I don't remember this character at all. So there was a lot of customization. Look, you have 1200 gold. It says you have 1200 gold, but no wood in this particular screenshot. And they went with an AMSFW. Wait, AMS. Oh, wow. They weren't using grid yet. Attack, move, stop. What is this? F? It says turn around your foot? F? W? I don't know what F and W are. And then what is this? This is follow? Yeah, perhaps. Maybe it's force hold, flee. Yeah, I'm not sure. And then this is like 1 is attack with sword, 2 is fireball, 3 is shoot with arrow. And then is this? I can only imagine this is 2 farms or houses in production and 2 archmages in production. This is this a holy light? Starfall? I'm not exactly sure. Hey, Wind Rider. Man, looks cool. Looks very cool. And the tower in here has a ball and chain instead of a tree. Ooh. Syndragoza. Frostworm. This looks so similar to Game of Thrones Bone Dragon, man. The blue dragon from Game of Thrones. Did that get inspired at all by WoW story or graphics? Not to say that a bone dragon is new just by Blizzard. I guess it existed already in Dungeons and Dragons or something. Road sign. This is really nice. Computer gaming world. Ghouls. Ogres. There's a gnoll. Ogres and gnolls fraternizing. Hey! Wow. This Dreadlord has more of a lich-like appearance. Acolyte. This looks like some kind of... Oh, this is probably a necromancer. Somewhat reminiscent of a shaman. It looks like he has like a deer skull. Thanks for the sub. Appreciate it, Kringar. Yeah, it looks really sick. Level 6 Dreadlord, undead. Bleakale. So they had that name already. 475 health. That's very low. I think it never has that low health anymore. I don't know what this is. This is probably Carrion Swarm? Sleep? And then, I don't know what the hell this is. Look at someone. Range sight. Yeah, range sight was actually nice. They decided to embed range within damage to clean up the UI. And sight, they just removed it. Speed, they put it under armor when you hover armor. Which doesn't really make sense actually, but they just wanted to clean up the UI, I guess. This is blind or seduce. Okay. This is what? Possession. Dreadlord looks like a gothic girl. Yeah. It's what we commonly associate with femininity, this shape. Oh my god. The lich is damn ugly. I'm sorry. But this looks like a fly robot. This is some kind of fly robot skeleton. And he has no stats. It's just an undead lich. Nice map. Nice looking map. I don't know if this is a lich or dreadlord. I guess it's a dreadlord. The trees look sick. Yeah, the trees look really good actually. Better than what should not be named. And perhaps better than Warcraft 3 Classic as well. I guess they wanted to make them stand out more and be more visible for actual gameplay. But this actually looks like the best I've seen trees look like. And this is Warcraft 3 Alpha. Voodoo Lounge. Here's Skeleton Warriors. I don't know what this is. Maybe also a Skeleton Warrior. Defense 1. What? Oh! It wasn't armor. It looks like this is an alternative UI that is actually different. Look at his face. Look at his freaking face, man. And he has no Look, guys, I'm a Dreadlord. And he has no health amount. It's just a health bar. He does 9 to 14 damage. Barely more than an Acolyte, and he's level 5. Look at this Dreadlord. Like, this is already a much more updated Dreadlord, though his damage is still weak as hell. Weak AV. This is just pathetic. Oh, a picture of a monitor. A picture of a CRT screen. Wait, there's a reflection here. Where is this? Can you guys read this? Enhance. Lera. Oh, Sierra. Oh, the gaming studio. Okay, what's this doing at Sierra? Put the CRT on the copy machine. Gonna need the long VGA cable this time. Look at his face. Probably at E3 or something. Yeah, maybe. He seems to have a very funny joke in mind. He's like, wait till I tell Ner'zhul. A little sus. 0 defense. Undead Dreadlord, no spaces. No space, no Kappa face. No Dreadlord face. Human Arc minus Mage. Attack 9 to 12. Wow. Amazing. Sierra. It's the same CRT monitor. Load 51 more images? Hell yeah. This is a golden thread. Human Knight. 11 to 17 damage, 2 defense. As you have. And a red inner fire. 9 to 12, big. I wish you could hear the original unit voices. Yeah, it might have been really derp. It could be really derp. Yo, is this... Wait, what is this? Some green dragon lizards. Here's an undead lizard and... Wait, is it really dead? No, it's not. It looks like it has the frostworm wing structure and colorization, but I think it's actually an alive lizard. And what is this? You know what this looks like? Explorer reporting. Science vessel. StarCraft 1. This is Defensive Matrix. I think they copied Defense Matrix from SC1. Oh yeah, it looks like VNet logo as well. That's true. Is this Frost Armor? I doubt it. Look at this icon. What is this icon? Inner Fire. They may have had a red hoof Inner Fire here, and which looks different. But this icon specifically is Animal War Training. Actually, never mind. This is Animal War Training. No, it doesn't show buffs in the UI here. It seems some kind of slow from the Drakes. Oh, that might be the case. Yeah. It might be a slow from them. Or Devotion Aura, who knows. Deleted Hero of the Alliance. Oh, Crusader. He could dismount. Oh, this is a hero. Lol. 19 strength. 3 defense. That's dingo. Aran Spellweaver. Brilliance Aura. They already had it. And somewhat similar looking as Brilliance Aura today. Frostworm. Skeletal Warriors. Necromancer. Dreadlord maybe? These bats are either vampires or gargoyles. Look at these small little birds. Defense upgrade? Which they're actually aiming upwards at the Frostworm. It doesn't even look like they're aiming it forwards, but upwards, which is really cool. And Mortar teams. Didn't spec Brilliance this time, just Blizzard and Water Elemental. Yeah, it might be because of a slope. You might be right. What? Green? Hammer in green, okay. Shield in red, right. Rider in purple, got it. But why though? Why? And this looks like a town portal, but I think it's actually lightning, isn't it? Like Thunderstrike from his storm hammer. Swappable equipment. Yeah, it might be true. It might be swappable. War Stomp, parenthesis W. So War Stomp is a bunch of yellow circles. Demolisher, Raider, 9 to 15 damage, defense 1, and snare. And there's a mercenary camp. This looks like the monsoon spell from... Yeah, there it is. This was given to Gul'dan later, not to a Farseer. Some kind of direct Thunderstrike hits against everyone in an area. I think this is in the campaign, Monsoon. Be really unlucky if you roll a 3 on your auto attack as a level 5 hero. Less than half of an Orcish peon. 3 to 14. Farseer on fly mount. Yo, they were so far ahead of their times. Flying mounts became a thing in World of Warcraft 3 years later, right? There's Blizzard. Yo, just now Raider had 9 to 14 damage or so. Look at this. Where was Raider? 9 to 15 damage. Here, 2 to 2. 2 to 2. And he has a significant downgrade in his looks as well. It's funny how they've combined different state of readiness of the game. So here, for instance, it's more RPG. The stats are different and there's no resources in the top. But then in this screenshot, you got this thin little bezel, this thin little UI that shows 112,000 gold, 32 population over 10. Lost a couple of farms. And I don't know what this is. This must have been the equivalent for lumber. I don't know what this is. Menu allies quests. Check out those trees too. Yeah, very different trees. Mushroomy kind of trees. There's the flying machine already. Oil? You think it's oil? Maybe. Raider has mana? 200 mana. That's weird. Yo, we see our first Hippogriff rider. Oh, no, never mind. Priestess of the Moon on Flymount. And it just says Assassin. 10 to 14. And these must be Druids of the Claw? Kobolds? Oh, nice blood. After a kill. And this looks like a dying lich. Oh. But it isn't actually, because there's one here and there's one here. I don't think each are like in the middle of a death animation. But that's what it looks like. Mask of Death. Oh yeah, you're right. It's actually Mask of Death. But why it shows here, that I don't know. Zul Aral. Wait, Shadowhunter already existed in RoC Alpha? Oh my god. Oh my god, they fooled us all? They made an expansion with new stuff, but it was already in the game. So they literally took it away just to sell it to us at a later date. TFT microtransaction. Yeah, it was like DLC. It was he was too OP, they had to hold him back for TFT. You think like, okay, we've made a base game, it's really well received. Let's think of some cool new content. Nuh-uh, everything was ready. They just delayed it for 9 months just to sell it to us again. And you know what? I would buy it again. I would buy it again. Thurin Stormbreaker 2. Level 7 Arc Druid. 12 to 22, 1, 17, 19, 23. And he looks like Tarzan. Tarzan silhouette. Oh man. Arc Druid, another deleted hero. It's Thurin Stormbreaker the second, actually. Yeah, not a very Arc Druid name, it seems. But then what do we know? Neutral Observatory, defense 0. Also not quite lighted yet. And it still looks better than Voldemort. I mean, that which shall not be named portrait. Elven Mage Priest. The Frostworm could switch between ground and air, very nice. It looks like it, if it is the same thing. And it looks a bit alike. Elven Mage Priest has healing, dispel, and teleport? This portrait. This is a very scary portrait. A very scary portrait. And the mana and health bar is swapped. Pepe is suspicious. It does look like Pepe's suspicious. The first version of the priest and terrestrial frostworms. Human paladin. This looks a little bit like a mixture of Uther and Falstad. He has... Look at this portrait. Stop portrait is also his defend. So he's a human paladin and he gets defend and death and decay. Look, it's a skull that's being blasted. So essentially holy light, holy shock, and just defend. Maybe this was like D-shield. Uthstad Falther. Yeah, looks like Viking names. His power is that he can make the enemy stop. And Stitch is already at a hook! And he had a helmet, see? He didn't have the pretty face here. Punch already had a hook. Resurrection. Heal. D-shield. Maybe. Old Death Knight, Dreadlord, and Cold Wrath. What? Death Knight? Dreadlord? I don't see any Dreadlord here. Oh. Huh? Oh, here. Death Knight, Dreadlord, Cold Wrath. That's some kind of precursor of the blue-eyed men in GOT, or like of the Lich. And they have Murlocs on their side. Look like cute little doggies. Cold Wraith Lich. Yeah, it's probably the Lich. I liked him when he was Iceman. You see how he has like an Iceman dress instead of, you know, the flying cloak? These knights, this knight have a sword and a lance, and this knight have shields. It was cool customizability, man. And look how they made sure that the Mountain King looks like a hero, even though he has a small stature. Made him have glowing weapons. I like what they were onto. The terrain texture looks really good. Yeah. I like all the terrain. I like this one and this one. See, I want to say it's not that hard to make good looking terrain. That dismount. Yeah. That's a Crusader. This is a Crusader? Not a dwarf. It's a dwarf, man. Look at this. He has a dwarven beard and dwarven horns. I'm pretty sure this is a Mountain King. He has a hammer. Oh, they're talking about the knight? This one? These are two footies standing on a null corpse. And none of these are dismounted. They're on a mount. Oh, you mean the knight with the lance is the crusader. Oh. Orcish peons and a beautiful orcish town. There's Tauren Chieftain. Wow. It looks like he's seen a ghost as well. That is a very different looking peon. You know what? It looks a bit like... Don't cancel me. But it looks a little bit like how they sometimes depict Mongol characters in historical fantasy. And they do kind of feel like that sometimes. The raiders, marauders of orcs. If that's a peon, what does a grunt look like? Hopefully we'll see. I mean, the grunt pretty much didn't change. I think for them, grunt and footman, their models were like leading design models since they're the basic unit. They led with those in the remaster as well. Shaman didn't change much. This is some kind of super fancy, amazing orcish warrior. Again, this one we recognize kind of from custom maps, but this looks like a female orc actually, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the warlock. It looks female. Has like hair behind. It's difficult to tell where all the curves are. Xerox. And this is amazing too. The big purple flash around it. It looks awesome. Yellow murlocs. Orc shaman. Wait. The peons have the same face as an orc shaman for now, which has purge. Oh, he's casting purge. Right. That looks so cool. Really nice. Oh, wow. In order to get food, they were slaughtering pigs. Or they're just killing pigs for fun. Why would they need food? I don't know. Look at this. The floor is lava. Looks like there's legit lava all around the land. Orc buildings look cool. Yeah, they do. Nuclear launch detected. Predator! That's a centaur against the Muradin, who just threw a stormbolt of nuclear fission. Orc Spirit Walker? They already had Spirit Walkers! Why did they wait till TFT? Oh, might be Goblin Landmine, yeah. Except he looked like a shaman. They were holding back, yep. Demon Hunter. 7 strength, 7 agility, 7 intelligence, 7 septillion, quintillion, 70 octillion, 7. And those are dryads. That is a dismounted huntress, like a warden or something. And this is a hippogriff rider, very cool. And an ancient protector. And, oh my god, a giant elven statue head. Ooh, very sinister. Altar of Darkness. With ghouls. With the big hanging licky tongue. This is one of those ice revenants that are creeps now. There's the Nerubian spider. Undead necromancer. Actually just looks pretty cool. Undead necromancer, yeah. Different, but cool. More man-like. Oh my god. Yeah, remember this. Don't you think that this necropolis actually looks cooler than the new one? I love the floating in the green poison water. It's so cool. I remember this from looking at magazines back when. That's on the box art, but blue. Yeah, It's so extra. I mean, it's awesome. This makes a necropolis feel quite epic. But they changed it. And these are probably spirit towers. Also changed quite a lot in their look. Somehow these spirit towers look cooler, except for the crystal, which is too fuzzy. But I like the footprint. It looks a bit cooler. But nothing wrong with the new one. The new one are definitely also higher def, higher res. Imagine being the employee that drew all these and Blizzard doesn't use any of them. Yeah. Supply. Is supply still done in this way? Where it's a skull for undead. And then it's, let's say, a ham for orc. Look, it's a human face for human. And then for orc, I guess it's the piece of chicken leg. I don't remember if they still do it that way. But that was pretty cool. Yo! Look at this. 22,000 gold, 549 health stones. Or what is this, Vespine gas? They changed it because they thought they should make undead as Terrans, main base transport. Instead they stopped and did it for night elves. Huh. So this could float and move? So they all had alternative resources, kind of like Spellforce, where each race has its own special resource. Orc probably had meat and they have like some kind of fell energy, and well, humans have fell energy too. Yo, this tree is molesting the gold mine directly. Look at it. Hey, it spread its tentacles all around and through the opening of the gold mine. My god, imagine being a gold mine in this life. Not just entangled, you know what I mean? Billy ready. Oh my god. Level 1 Priestess of the Moon, Cathris Star Song. But 22 damage though. That's a lot more damage than a level 5 Farseer who had 3 damage. Oh, he's done fingering the mine. He's taking a break. Praying right now. Dryad, then Keeper of the Grove, then Archers. They fixed this later, where heroes are always on, in front. Yeah, Priestess looked OP as hell in Alpha Beta. She can fly and she does... she does 7 times as much damage as the Farseer. That seems pretty good. This may actually be the starting health of the Keeper of the Grove in current patch, 475. One of the few things that actually remained completely consistent. Catapults on the hill with the blades and a bunch of raiders. And look, the peon pushing the demo. So cute. Castle, peasant, sorceress, knight, scout tower, peasant, barracks, footman. And 500 of the alternative resource for orc. Like, what is this, storm resource? Hey, blade was OP. 31, 35 damage. Only 2 armor though. And he has more strength than agility. Whoa, suddenly the UI took a big step back again in this picture. These are catapults that also have mana, by the way. That's awesome. Cairn Bloodhoof with a portrait that I cannot even determine what is what. I have no idea what I'm looking at here. If I had to guess, I would guess it's a catapult or an ultralisk. Is this destructible rocks? Cairn Bloodhoof? Wait, Cairn, didn't you get an E later behind the name? Tauren Chieftain, Giant. Yeah, Taurens are using balls as weapon, like ball and chain. Basically what the gnolls use later. 21 to 43 damage, level 10. Just 2 defense though. 28 strength, 10 agility, 10 intelligence. Knight already has Sundering Blade upgrade. Yep. Yo, thanks for the sub, Pee-wee. Appreciate it. You too, Cry Digger and I am Kilu. Whoa! The barracks is so big! Human Arc minus mage. This is such a big barracks. Alright, let's take a screenshot of the monitor now. Peasant? Rifle, perhaps? Knight? Medic? Mortar? Lost Vikings? I don't really know all of these. This might be a footman. Peasant, rifle, knight, footman, mountain king. Don't know. Archmage? Perhaps? Undead Ghoul. 5 to 9 damage. Has the face of Abomination. 0 defense. Pig. Somand Wayfinder. This is Illyria or Sylvanas. Attacking a green TC, probably because he's been slowed by frost arrows. So he turned greenish blue. Level 6 Ranger. 18 to 26 damage, 4 armor, 17 agility. Illyria. Yeah. The High Elven Archer. Yo, this Wyvern, which is actually Kazil Darkeye of Farseer, just leveled up. This Witch Doctor standing next to a Spirit Lord selling items. This looks like campaign. Ogres and Abominations and Centaurs are working together to attack. War Maul, Orc Warlord, level 5. Yo, look. This is some Warcraft 2 icons, or Warcraft 1 even. What is it? This is a... Oh, this is the Mask of Death face, with the purple beneath it. Maybe this is like a lifesteal totem. This might be Bloodlust for all we know. Wait, they're WoW icons? But certainly they're improved for WoW, no? Demoralizing Shout. They're the same? They look so old though. This looks like Warcraft 2. Just poured it over. Lazy. So, in order of appearance, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 is what? Demo Shout. Demoralizing Shout, the purple one. And Rage. Demon Armor. Oh. Demon Armor, Blood Rage, Demoralizing Shout. Oh, okay, okay. And what does Fell Armor do? Or Demon Skin? Just give like a shield? Armor and health regen. Ah. Or defense, I suppose. Doom Roar, level 10 Warlord. With Fell Armor and Demoralizing Shout. This almost looks like current Warcraft. Califox, level 5 Keeper of the Grove. His damage actually looks normal. 2019-16. He has a Tome of XP, perhaps? This is the item that was used for +1 stat or something in the campaign or in custom games. This is probably Entangle. Health looks quite on point. Speed average, range melee. Range melee! I see, I see. Very interesting. Druid of the Claw is here. Miasmus, level 4 Abomination. Giant. Damage 37 to 42. And it's a hero, the Abomination. Very pretty fella as well. Has Death and Decay. Raise Skeleton, Raise Skeletal Mage, and Touch of Death. This is our command ability. Touch of Death. And just kill it. Or like what? Corpse Explosion or something. Frostworm, Undead. 16 to 32 damage, defense 1. This is a Flying Death Knight on a purple cloud. There's some rocks in the gate. Maybe it has to be fixed for a quest. Level 1 Shaman. Funny face. Yeah, too much of the green leaf has mellowed his mind. You got like the bloodlust subsides. Oh no, wait, it's still there. Oh, these hippogriffs look pretty much ready for Warcraft. APs as well. Keeper. This is very advanced stage. The terrain is quite undulating. They smoothed out terrain for the most part for RoC release. Yeah, they didn't show many items. Bringing back the fields. Very nice. Very nice. Now, let's go read some reviews. Oh yeah, Blizzard faithful, the day of reckoning has finally come. Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos, updated in 2018, but posted in July 2002. I quickly scanned this article. I didn't read it yet, but I quickly scanned it. I didn't see any updates. Maybe it's more like he looked at it because of Reforged, and it counted as an edit, but didn't really change much. So this is a contemporary of the time review when Warcraft came out, and I really wonder how people perceive the game way back when. So let's check it out. So, Warcraft 3 has apparently already pre-sold some ungodly number of copies at this point, so it seems almost beyond the realm of my capacity to have any effect on whether or not most of you will buy the game or not. Regardless, it's my job and I'm opinionated, so you all get to read it nonetheless. However, unlike any past reviews I may or may not have done regarding other Blizzard titles, this one probably won't warrant the same amount of hate mail flooding into the office. Yes, I like Warcraft 3. Sorry to those of you who were just waiting for the opportunity to say mean things about my mother, but you're out of luck. Well, we can still do that. Blizzard has crafted a finely tuned real-time strategy game here with production values up the wazoo. There's not a whole lot you can seriously complain about with a straight face, but I'll try anyway. I'm a complainer by trade after all. He doesn't need to be. He has a wrong idea of what reviewer is all about. Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos is not the same game that was originally presented to us 3 years ago. It has since undergone both small and rather large changes to become the final product that it is today. In its final stage, it comes to us a little bit more than an RTS. Some of the little bits are some light role-playing elements that really manage to help the single-player game along by connecting you to the main characters that play a part in the story. In multiplayer, they can turn the tide of the battle with the click of a button in some cases. The kicker is that in order for them to be of any use at all, you have to get them out into battle to gain experience points. It's a nifty way to do things and turns to a bunch of fun and frustration depending on which end of the stick you're standing. The heroes you'll find in the single player campaigns all represent a type of hero that you'll find in multiplayer. You'll get to learn their awesome set of spells for when you finally get to jump into multiplayer and test out your skills against human opponents. The other bits that I originally had thought would be another addition to the RTS mold are the quests. But really, they turn out to be added objectives. They are done in a more RPG-ish manner, where they're a little random and off the storyline, but basically are just added objectives that you would find in other RTSs as well. The main difference is that some of these are optional quests designed mainly to give you a little bit more to do in a map and help your hero level up a little more before the real combat begins. The campaigns make good use of the quests, both optional and mandatory, to build up the believable world of Warcraft yet again. While it's certainly not the most original property on the face of the earth, meaning that elves and orcs and the undead get used so much in fantasy, it's like watching a dead horse beat itself, the characters and situations manage to be believable enough in a mature enough story to keep me interested. I have to say though, that some of what happened during the game and some of the characters seem to have some weird mirror world thing going on with those in StarCraft. Regardless, it works well. Throughout the game, the story will progress in the action and in the cutscenes, both rendered and in real time. I actually like the little interludes in the game that progress the story, although I can understand how some people might think they go on too long and break up the action. For me, they managed to ground me not only in the conflict, but in the fact that it takes place in this funny little brightly colored 3D world, which almost ended up making the pre-rendered cutscenes seem a little out of place. Before you all start thinking I'm a lunatic, I really did love those cutscenes, even with the change in style from the game itself. They're absolutely beautiful, and you'll find yourself watching them repeatedly to take in all of the little details. I've said it before and I'll say it again, when you have little rewards like this to look forward to on a job well done, it's easier to keep plugging away at the enemy until you get that reward you so richly deserve at the end of each campaign. The campaigns themselves are laid out well. You'll move from controlling the humans to the undead to the orcs and finally the night elves on your way to saving the world from total destruction at the hands of the Burning Legion. Not all is as you might expect when you load up a game. There will be enough plot twists to keep you guessing, even if you guess right most of the time, and enough moral ambiguity on each of the race's parts to make you wonder sometimes which one of the races are the bad guys. Sure, the undead seem like a good culprit, but really, I don't say they're misunderstood. Really, I think they're just misunderstood. The levels, what an edgelord. The levels will be fairly familiar to anyone that played Warcraft 2 or even StarCraft. Most of the levels will involve you raising at least one outpost while protecting your own. Inside of this major set, you'll have some side objectives to disguise the fact that you're trying to destroy the enemy towns, such as gathering 15,000 lumber, when Night Elf Tree of Life, the main Night Elf building, is worth 3,000 lumber. Wow! Of course, you're going to raise the entire town when you find it. It's just too hard to resist. There are a few of these types of missions, like this, which add a little bit more spice to the immortal RTS equation. You'll also get levels where you'll run through a dungeon, killing enemies and saving friendly units that will bolster your ranks as you go. You'll have to find keys and open doors and all of that jazz as well. As you can see, there's not a ton here in terms of main objectives that will be completely new to any RTS buffs out there, but if it's well done enough, you will either won't notice or won't care. Of course, much of that credit could also be given to the excellent unit and race design. Each of the races have been tuned and tweaked and created with a special delicacy in mind. Each of the races has clear advantages and disadvantages from each other. Take the orcs. Even their small units pack a punch, but they take more food units to keep around, so your army will be smaller. Or the night elves that have excellent ranged attacks but little to no melee attacks, leaving them open for a serious whooping if enemies get in close. The races are all pretty unique from each other in both look and function. The graphics throughout the entire title are truly amazing and really need to be lauded. The races and individual units, from the actual model to the interesting portraits that are almost caricatures of the units, are really alive with personality. My favorite, as usual, is the sickest of them, the undead. All of them have style in droves, however, and you'll find yourself zooming in on several occasions to get a better look. While the looks and feels of each may be unique from each other, they aren't necessarily unique from past games. Blizzard veterans will probably recognize a few gameplay mechanics borrowed from the venerable StarCraft upon playing, such as the Blight, which is the same as the creep the Zerg used. Night Elf buildings can get up and move around to save themselves, and undead buildings come into being much like the Protoss buildings did, so you only need one unit to summon them all. Sure, it all comes together a little differently, but it's the same in theory. The balancing issues in terms of spells and unit strength are things that will be adjusted for years to come if StarCraft is any example, but they've got a damn good start. and have instituted some great checks and balances between the races if you know where to find them. For an easy example, some people may feel overwhelmed by the onslaught of an undead horde of raised skeletons, but there are plenty of magics that can unsummon them if you know where to find them. Balance of force is key here for victory. I can't wait to see some of the crazy strategies that will undoubtedly begin surfacing in the coming weeks. There's already quite a few. And when you add in the ability to record and watch matches to see where you went wrong and your opponent went right, they'll be honed down to a science before too long, with counter strategies and theories springing up all over the place. At least one can hope. Which brings me to the AI strategies. It seems as though it sometimes still suffers from the same run straight into your base regardless of your defensive strategy. But occasionally I've been surprised by flank attacks against my army, and into my bases by flying units and Zeppelin transports. I also have noticed that units can pick out targets of importance a little better than I'm used to, although for some reason my heroes seem to be down on the line of importance to them. But my healers and spellcasters certainly find themselves bleeding or dead during the course of a big battle. Strangely enough, multiplayer, as fun as I have found it so far, is also where I hold some of my objection. I know that the idea behind this game was to keep things a little more personal, keep the number of units on the field down to a minimum, keep things under control and the managing of huge forces from bogging play down. But I like huge numbers of forces. Sure, you're forced into more personal battles where you care more about each unit than you might have in StarCraft, where many matches ended up in the hands of an onslaught of guardians or carriers. But I always loved that part of the game though. There was something about bringing that many units to bear and seeing them falling on your base that was exciting. The lower unit cap now means that a huge number of defensive buildings are necessary. However, if you want to run through the countryside to take care of some of the neutral creeps that are out there, and about to give your heroes some levels up before coming up against the enemy. And while having neutral units on the field is a cool thought, it also means that rushing is almost out of the question, which is another strategy that I was fond of, both using by myself and defending against it. The early stress of deciding which way you want to go with your army was always interesting. The gamble of very early expansion is eliminated from the arsenal of strategies, as well due to the mobs that hang out in front of unoccupied gold mines. You have to have an army before you can claim a new base for your own. It's a bit short-sighted to think that these type of features won't necessarily create new strategies that my feeble mind can't imagine on its own yet, but it's also a little sad that some of my favorite strategies don't seem to be viable options for the most part. But even with those things that I consider flaws, I had a bunch of fun with the beta over Battle.net, and even more fun with the LAN we've had going around the office here with the copies we received from Blizzard. One quick note to those who are used to older Blizzard RTSs. There's no spawn option this time, so you'll need your own disk. Sorry. Oh, I remember spawn. What? Oh, spawn was a way for you to lend part of your game license to someone else. Do you remember that? If you had a copy of the game, a licensed copy of the game, a CD, you could spawn it to a friend over LAN who could then play it only when they're playing with you. It's like Steam Borrow, but you could play at the same time, unlike Steam Borrow. Dude, I completely forgot about spawn. That's so funny. It's like Steam Play Together thing. Oh, Steam has to play together? Cool. We got scammed into buying more copies, then forgot about it. Real Animal Farm moment. What? Some boomer gamer stuff, yeah. Do you guys remember shareware? They used to stuff these CDs full of shareware together with the PC gameplay magazines. So you would have a CD that has several demo versions of games that are advertised in the magazine. You could then try out like 20 games. It'll say like these 20 games inside. It was awesome, man. Just little demo versions, couple of hours of playtime the most. And then you could like try out some of the games that were in the magazine. It was such a good marketing technique, man. I still play demos. That's how I discovered Diablo, yeah. I only owned one game and I had 30 shareware games as a kid. I remember playing this game for so long. It was called Gazillionaire, and we always only had the shareware version. Then one time we visited a friend of my dad's, and they actually had the full version. And then I think we actually successfully argued for us to be allowed to purchase the full version of the game because it was so awesome.
Oh, welcome to
In Gazillionaire, your goal is to become an interstellar tycoon by trading moonferns, ogle sand, and lava lamps across the galaxy of Gog.
Hello. This one just so Jill Baroness.
You could like choose a ship that you wanted to travel around with, and then Mr. Zin would loan you money, but 4% interest per week. And you could like pick up passengers, advertise for next planet, so there's more passengers to pick up when you travel to the next planet. It was a stock market. You could purchase goods and then sell it. Basically crypto, essentially. It was fun. And then finally we got the real version. We were so happy. We played the shareware for like months. For many, many months. What year was this game? You can look it up. Gazillionaire. It must have been like 1998. Here, let me check it out. Gazillionaire. Original. Oh, 1994. I just showed my age. Yeah. Yeah, we must have been like 8, 9, 10 when we played it. Oh. The final kicker, of course, is the world editor, which will add a ton of replayability. I hate to keep bringing up past games into the equation, but if you played StarCraft at all, then you know the amount of solid extra missions that fans created for the hell of it. They were a ton of fun. The editor itself will take a little time to get used to, simply because 3D is a little more complicated than 2D, but it's a powerful little tool that gives you access to everything, even camera control for in-game cutscenes of your own. Last but not least, simply because I never found a place for this to flow, is the sound. It's impossible to talk about Warcraft without giving a little homage to the auditory designers. As usual, there's plenty of good voice acting, some so-so voice acting, and very little bad voice acting. Unit acknowledgements range from powerful to amusing. You even hear some old favorites like Darbu and Zug Zug pipe up on the orc side. Sound effects are once again perfectly and fit in well with the rest of the top-tier production that made it into the game. And then the verdict. Ding! Warcraft 3 is a finely tuned game and an amazing example of the importance of polish and presentation. Everything in the box, from the game itself to the terrific manual that has tons of info, plus loads of extra background story for each of the races, is top notch and adds to the overall luster, that's the third typo I'm counting, of the game. If you're one of those that ordered the collector's edition or plan on buying it, fourth typo, then you're in for a treat as well if you're a diehard fan of the series. I don't say that very often about these things, but you get a huge book of Warcraft art, a DVD with all of the cinematics, the soundtrack, and prints of the art for each of the 4 box fronts. It's a pretty nice set. Booba. The delays to the game may have been a bit hard to bear. Wait, it was delayed? I don't remember that. May have been. Remember when Blizzard delayed games that weren't ready, guys? May have been a bit hard to bear at times, but I think that almost everyone will be happy to see the results that extra hours brought to bear. There's nothing less than a sterling real-time strategy game here that fans of fantasy and fiction will enjoy. Now, feel free to start speculating on what the inevitable expansion will bring. Okay, I think Shadowhunter, Voodoo Lounge, Batrider, Spirit Walker, Spellbreaker, Dragonhawk, Bloodmage, Cryptlord, Destroyer, Obsidian Statue, Mountain Giant, and Fairy Dragon, and Warden. And a new campaign. That's it? Awesome. Animated violence, blood, realistic violence, and violence. Which one is you guys' favorite? For me, it's the violence. The initial release was March 6th. Oh, wow. It was delayed for 4 months. Same. Blood, all of them. Wow. Mac OS and PC. Publishers, Vivendi Games and Blizzard. Who wrote the review? Dan Adams. The King of Albion. What? Where? This segment really made me feel old. Remember playing King's Quest with floppy disks. Well, of course you're old. You're a 93-month sub. That's like most of your life. Thank you so much for the sub, HTF. What is Albion? I'm sure you guys know what that is. He stopped writing for IGN in 2009. It's an England MMO from Fable. Albion Online. A sandboxes. They got ruined. Albion is an old name for England. And it was used by lots of games. I see. Interesting. Well, that was a lot of fun. We have more reviews. This review is published in 2006, which is a little late. That's like 4 years after it came out. I top up on some water. Games Radar. The games, movies, and TV you love. How are you today, Grubby? Bring back the Paint Swirl shirt. It's in the laundry. Thanks, Whitewater. Thanks for the sub. Welcome. Welcome to the Grubsters. The Force. One of the best strategy games ever made. Pros. Story and campaign drive everything. Hero mode, a welcome addition. Robust graphics. Against, later missions can be very frustrating. Online players will take you out. Wait, are we talking about whining and dining here? Are we talking about match made in heaven, made in games? Or does he mean like a sniper, like a hitman? Because I actually took an online player out. And now we're married. That, for me, that's a good thing. But I think he means in the assassination kind. Gaming journalist, Kekve. Yeah. I had a 0% win rate in ladder whenever I tried it. Orcs in your location want to take you out. I mean, you can already tell he has a skill issue right here. When missions are too hard for him, why does he even try to go online? Just to cover for the review, right? No offense, William Harms. William Harms, we cool? His latest review was 2K6, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind review. Age of Empires 3 review. Against, the main campaign feels tepid. Poor AI bogs the game down. Scenario design is unoriginal. Okay, so let's not mince words. Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos is one of the most enjoyable games, yo, thanks for the sub, DRC, ever created, regardless of genre. Chronicling the saga of a prince. By the way, there will be spoilers here. If you haven't played the campaign yet, you might want to do that first. Thank you so much for the sub, you're deadbeat dad, appreciate it. Welcome back to the Grubsters. Chronicling the saga of a prince named Arthas, Warcraft 3's campaign is a breathtaking affair of betrayal, epic combat, and a world's desperate bid to fend off an unstoppable evil. It's the kind of grand storytelling that's extremely rare in gaming. The single-player campaign is split between the game's 4 races: humans, orcs, night elves, and the undead. And the story is told from each side's perspective. Thank you for the gifts up, all this then, to Dostoevsky. The diversity of the missions, which range from large-scale combat to stealth affairs, keep the entire game fresh and exciting. You never know what's just around the corner. Benthidas, armor 4, damage 22 to 27, speed fast, range melee. the dreaded Dreadlord Frostworm strategy. And he has some items that I do not recognize exactly. This looks like Tome of Intelligence, and this looks like no item I've ever seen in Warcraft 3, if I'm honest with you. It looks like a Talisman of Evasion shape, or a Pendant of Energy, but the coloring is definitely different, as well as the exact silhouette. What really elevates Warcraft 3 above the usual strategy fare is, hold that thought, let me just move this a little bit here, is the hero system. Each side has 2 heroes endowed with extraordinary powers. Oh, only 2! Such as healing. This has been tried before in strategy games, but Warcraft 3 nails it, both in ease of use and how much of an impact those special powers have in battle. And because your hero remains his or her level throughout the game, the powers that you choose have long-term strategic effects. This person literally only played the campaign. Probably. Graphically, Warcraft 3 looks sensational. The world of Azeroth is packed with a ton of details, including highly detailed and wonderfully animated characters. The fully animated cutscenes, which match anything that Hollywood produces, really catapult the story forward while never breaking from the game's tone. More info, game, genre strategy, PC. That's it? That's it. Alright, well thank you Games Radar, that was interesting. Let's go next. What a review. He clearly didn't get paid by the words. Jesus. Paid by the article. Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos review. First release July 3rd, 2002. Wow, he released this at 2:38 p.m. PDT on the very day that it was released. That's impressive. Yeah, I already managed cookies. Go away, button. Oh my god, that button is gonna be there. This is why I hate these cookie prompts. Sometimes they never go away. It's just an outstanding game, filled with all the charm, all the detail, and all the lasting appeal that characterizes all of the finest games ever made. Hey, that is some story, that is some future telling, that is some future anticipating storytelling. Lasting appeal. Finest game ever made. Hell yeah. Yo, thank you so much for the 39 months, tier 3. Thank you so much for the support, Yuha87. Deleted using DevView XD. I don't know how, Scorn. WC3 Reign of Chaos needs little in... It didn't save your response? Yeah, I don't know why. I did already confirm my choices, see? Do I just allow them all? That's what it wants, right? It just wants me to allow them all, then it... Oh, frack! Oh my god. It's too late, I've already given all my cookies. Anyway. Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos needs little introduction, and neither does Blizzard, the company that created it. The worldwide July 3rd release of Warcraft 3, which shipped about 5 million copies in its first run, seems like a suitably momentous occasion, given that the game itself is both so highly anticipated and has been such a long time in the making. Considering that many have long since pre-ordered the game, and that the remaining copies are likely to fly off the shelves, giving a critique of Warcraft 3 almost seems like a moot point. It's like trying to convince someone whether or not to go see a movie like Star Wars Episode 2. Wait, wasn't it 5? I don't think 2 was out yet, right? Fortunately, for those who intend to play it, no matter what anyone says, they'll find their time with Warcraft 3 to be very well spent. Sure, Warcraft 3 is not a revolutionary departure from the conventions of a real-time strategy gaming, but it's as good of an offering in the genre as there has ever been. Featuring a superb story, carefully refined gameplay, plenty of depth, the best online multiplayer mode in any real-time strategy game to date, and the excellent production values you would expect from a Blizzard product. So if you're looking for some validation to go with your pre-order, there you have it. Yo, can we get some extra bandwidth on this JPEG download? Speaks of excellent production values, but clearly didn't rub off on his review. Anyway, who knows, it may have gotten lost over time. Warcraft 3 is an excellent sequel to a real classic. On the other hand, if you're looking to inform yourself about what's great and what's not quite great about Warcraft 3, not quite as great, read on. As the sequel to one of the undisputed classics of PC gaming, Warcraft 3 has some very big shoes to fill. The previous Warcraft game, together with Westwood Studios' Command & Conquer, has popularized the real-time strategy genre and introduced a number of ideas that remain conventional to this day. And StarCraft, the follow-up to Warcraft 2, was an even more phenomenal success. Talk about staying power. Though StarCraft was released back in 1998, a lot of people still play it. They still do. Can Warcraft 3 truly live up to this heritage? Yes. It has everything that made both StarCraft and Warcraft 2 before it the blockbuster hits that they quickly became. Warcraft 3 has lots of great characters, and it is fantasy themed. Oh, its fantasy themed world has tons of personality. It's got fine-tuned, well-balanced gameplay. It's got a quick pace. It's got some new gameplay twists that should surprise even the most hardcore real-time strategy gamers, and it's simply a lot of fun. For good measure, it ships with the powerful Warcraft 3 world editor utility, allowing devout Warcraft 3 players to build their own maps and scenarios, thus greatly extending the life of the game for themselves and for others, and creating many offspring that would turn out to swallow it in popularity. Well, not exactly, right? Is Dota 2 really bigger than Warcraft 3? Is it? League is. I would say Dota 2 is not, probably, but yeah, League is. Which is more of a sidestep. I wouldn't call it exactly an offspring. But yeah, I guess. Just a tiny bit. I think it's debatable. I would say more people played Warcraft 3 than Dota 2. Especially relative to the total gamer market size. It's a first cousin, yeah.
Lead their brethren to battle. As mortal armies rush blindly towards their doom, the burning shadow comes to consume us all.
Welcome to GameSpot Live. I'm Greg.
I don't think they're live. I'm live. Make no mistake, Warcraft 3 is a real-time strategy game. Originally announced back in 1999 as a hybrid strategic role-playing game, over the course of its development, Warcraft 3 shed many of its role-playing pretensions and became what by all means is a true sequel to its predecessor. The game relies on many of the real-time strategy conventions you're probably familiar with by now. The goal of a typical skirmish is to start gathering resources, gold and wood, build up a base, build up a force of various units, and use that force to destroy the enemy's base and to repel any attacks against your position. You control the action primarily with a mouse by clicking on individual units and buildings or dragging boxes around groups of them, and you can also use the predefined keyboard hotkeys to quickly perform some actions. So Warcraft 3 doesn't reinvent the wheel. What it does let you play as is 4 different, uniquely appealing factions. The Human Alliance, which also comprises elves, dwarves and humans, returns from previous Warcraft games, as does the Orcish Horde, consisting of the brutal green-skinned orcs, the trolls, and which are their wicked cousins, and a minotaur-like breed called the Tauren. The entirely new playable factions include the Undead Scourge, a mix of evil human occultists and their nefarious zombie creations, and the Night Elf Sentinels, a purple-skinned race of warrior druids. The game reduces the scale of the typical real-time strategy battle, putting you in charge of a relatively small number of powerful units rather than countless of weaker ones. Warcraft 3 also lets you recruit hero characters, who start out strong and soon grow even mightier as they gain experience from battle. Hero characters aren't just powerful in their own right. They can often bolster the abilities of nearby units, making them an essential component of any Warcraft 3 army. Furthermore, Warcraft 3's colorful maps tend to be populated by plenty of dangerous denizens, together with your main opponents. These creatures can bar passage to key strategic locations. Defeating them earns your hero character much needed experience, as well as some valuable artifacts. Warcraft 3 adds some much needed variety to the traditionally slow early stages of a real-time strategy battle. Typically, the initial build-up period in such games is merely a race to get to the best units first. That's somewhat true of Warcraft 3, but at least you're not just going through the paces while you construct your base. Instead, in a typical match against the computer or other players, you need to quickly assemble a small force for your hero and get out there and start exploring and fighting, because experienced heroes are far more powerful than inexperienced ones. Exploring the territory and battling miscellaneous monsters makes the early game plenty interesting in Warcraft 3, especially since you need to keep checking on your base. Even choosing your starting hero makes for a significant early decision, as each faction has 3 available. Typically some sort of pure fighter like the samurai-like Orc Blade Master, a support fighter like the Human Paladin, and a caster like the Undead Lich. Later you can have all 3 of your faction's heroes out in the field simultaneously, however only your first one is free. All heroes gain up to 4 unique special abilities as they gain experience levels, which can turn the tide of a battle when used correctly. Every hero type is different, viable and deadly, so even learning which ones your opponents have selected is important, giving you yet another reason to quickly try and scout out enemy encampments. Blizzard's real-time strategy games have been criticized in the past for strictly limiting the number of units that a player could select at any time. In StarCraft, players would often form half a dozen or more full groups of units and send them off all at once to obliterate the enemy. Not being able to select scores of units simultaneously was a mere inconvenience. But in the context of Warcraft 3's concentrated battles, your ability to command only a limited number of units makes more sense. You're limited to selecting no more than 12 units at a time, and the maximum number of units you can have on the field is quite low. You can build a sizable attack force and leave a minimal garrison back at base, and that's about it. So you usually can't win by sheer numbers. Additionally, Blizzard has introduced the concept of upkeep to the formula, which causes your gold miners to generate less income the more units you have. These artificial constraints may initially be frustrating to those accustomed to other real-time strategy games, including Blizzard's own StarCraft, and they do diminish the sense that you're commanding vast armies, because you're not. Many of the Night Elves buildings can pick up and move and fight. But in time, most anyone should appreciate the balance that these rules create. Essentially, the low unit count in the upkeep system encourage you to stick with a relatively small number of units, and to spend your resources on upgrading them wisely. Defensive behavior won't win the day in Warcraft 3. You have to get out there and fight and gain experience, and if your units die, you'll need to make more. You'll either be spending gold on more units or losing it to high upkeep costs in the long run after all. Even if your hero character is killed in combat, he or she may be revived for a fee back at your base. And lest you think Warcraft 3 is all about rushing your opponents as quickly as possible, rest assured, each of the 4 factions has its own unique defenses. Human peasants can take up arms and become militia, defending their base from any aggressors. Orcish peons can dive into their burrows, from which they can toss spears to deadly effect against their foes. The undead have early access to ghouls, misshapen foot soldiers, who also double as lumberjacks, and most of the Night Elf buildings are actually sentient tree creatures, that can uproot themselves and literally fight back against any threats. So in practice, the 4 factions of Warcraft 3 are nearly as different as they look. They are uniformly similar only to the extent that it makes sense for gameplay purposes, in that they share roughly analogous buildings and technology trees and have a few similar types of units. So you'll be able to get a basic grasp of any of the races quickly and be able to switch from one to the next easily. But you'll still notice and appreciate that many differences between the 4 sides, like how the orcs are the flat out strongest race. Hey. That changed, okay? There was a lot of rebalancing. This is no longer true, okay? While the undead can best rely on overwhelming numbers. Well, that's not true anymore either. And subversive tactics. Meanwhile, the humans are the most technically advanced, while the night elves have many ranged units and some devious special abilities. Overall, Warcraft 3's 4 factions are unusual, fun to play, and almost as different as the 3 factions from StarCraft. Regardless of the faction you prefer, you'll find that Warcraft 3's interface truly shines. It's not overly complex, and in some ways it's even a bit limiting. For example, it doesn't let you remap the keyboard hotkeys. But in practice, Warcraft 3's interface really gets the job done. Or rather, it lets you get the job done. Grouped units automatically assemble and move in formation, with the tougher units tending to get in front. You can easily set waypoints and issue attack move orders, making your units spread out and engage any enemy units on the way to their destination. Units won't automatically get out of the way for each other, which can occasionally cause some problems with unit pathfinding, but this is of marginal concern. You can hit the spacebar to quickly jump to any event that's happening on the battlefield, and your minimap clearly displays your surroundings, and an icon pops up whenever one of your worker units is standing idle. For that matter, detailed help windows pop up when you float your cursor over just about anything. That's all good, though it's all been done before. Warcraft 3 also introduces the concept of subgroups, allowing you to hit the tab key to cycle between all units of a single type in a group. Thus, you can easily cast spells and use your units' special abilities, even when you've got mixed groups selected. It's a great feature. Yo, agree, and I didn't know that they were pretty much the first to do it, or maybe the very first. Tabbing. This is a long review. Holy shit, there's 9 more paragraphs. So he loves the game. I'm gonna go to the end. 9.3. The good, not available, not applicable. The bad, superb. Warcraft 3 is a must-have game, and you don't need a game review to tell you so to know it's true. The fact that so many people will have already put money down for the game by the time you read this demonstrates how much faith gamers all across the world have in Blizzard's products. And Warcraft 3 once again suggests that this faith is well placed. So, if you've ever enjoyed a real-time strategy game from Blizzard, then you'll undoubtedly enjoy Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos. And if you're even skeptical and approach it with extreme caution, wondering whether mere mob mentality is what makes people flock to this particular product, you'll still eventually find that the reason for Warcraft 3's popularity are pretty straightforward. It's just an outstanding game, filled with all the charm, all the detail, and all the lasting appeal that characterizes one of the finest games ever made. 7 years ago. Wow. He took 13 years to finish it. Last mission was a bitch, just finished a few moments ago. Good job, Cloud Imperium. The single best RTS game ever made. Yes, I said it, and gosh darn it, I meant it. So why the hell they didn't continue in this storyline instead of effing it up by staying with the obsolete World of Warcraft? It has cheap graphics, cheap storytelling, And it's an MMO instead of the traditional strategy game that Warcraft 3 was. What? WoW is obsolete? Yeah, well, it's half true. WoW isn't exactly obsolete, though it may be acquiring obsolescence. But yeah, the storyline is not ideal, I guess. Warcraft 3 Andes. This game was better than WoW. Top 10 best games ever made. The ones who will to save this land, follow me. The rest of you, get out of my kitchen. Wait, this is Arthur's. The rest of you, get out of my sight. The ones who will to save this land, follow me. The rest of you, get out of my sight. Very nice. Nice review by Greg Casavin for Game Info. Have you sauced your mince, Arthur?
Any heed to the ancient prophecies. Like fools.
Are you still a competitive gamer, like going to tournaments and practicing to win prizes? I'm a competitive gamer, but not to go to tournaments.
As we had for generations.
There really haven't been that many as well. I can't watch you cook this. As good as Hollywood. I mean, it's good. I mean, in a way, it's better, but it's also worse.
Until the day the sky rained fire, and the new enemy came among us.
Not in War 3, but the reason why I ask, there's a lot of prize money in newer games. Any plans to get into any of them? You have the talent to do it. Thank you, man.
We stand now upon the brink of destruction.
These are like HQ
For the
remastered.
reign of chaos
I don't know how they did it.
has come at last.
Are they gonna be okay? Yeah, they're fine. They'll be raised to skeletons. We didn't really get along, those
The
QR
sands
codes.
of time have run out, son of Duratan.
I remember taking Warcraft 3 patch notes. Oh, this music. I would wake up, check Warcraft news, saw there was a new
Cries
patch.
of war echo upon the winds.
I would print out the patch notes and fold them into my geography textbook. I would pretend to be reading my geography textbook during class,
The remnants of the past scar the land.
but instead I was studying how all the units changed.
Which is besieged once again.
You're not a real gamer if you didn't do that. I lived 5 minutes away from school, and if I had a period that was cancelled because of a sick teacher, and I would have 1 hour at school, instead of spending it with friends or hanging out at the canteen, I would cycle home, play 40 minutes of Warcraft, and then cycle back to school. Not addicted. It's not an addiction. I just wanted to do it. No, it's just, yeah, it's Sigma Gamer. I mean, I didn't say
Heroes
it.
to challenge fate
You said it.
and lead their brethren to battle.
Some people call me a Sigma Warcraft gamer. I accepted this characterization.
As mortal armies rush blindly towards their doom, burning shadow comes to consume us all.
You're not addicted if you get paid for it eventually. It's like you're not a drug addict anymore if you're a drug runner. Because it's a job then, you're just being professional.
You must rally the Horde. and
Addicted to
lead
getting
your
paid.
people to their destinies. Seek me out.
One of my worst analogies. Yeah, that's true. The movie War 3 was terrible, do you agree? No, I really liked it. I agree it was probably terrible by critical standards, but I really enjoyed it. Because I just enjoyed seeing orcs come to life. I didn't buy too much into the story or anything. I just loved seeing real life orcs from Warcraft. It felt more like a World of Warcraft movie than Warcraft 3, but... just Warcraft, yeah. Real life orcs, better than Hollywood.
We've received reports that the orcs are regrouping. Certainly the recent attacks against the internment camps are evidence enough. Agreed. The Horde is on the move.
This is absurd. My nation will not stand by and watch as the Horde masses on our very doorstep.
The orcs are not our primary concern here. How many times must I repeat myself?
King Tyrannus, you must heed my warning.
This plague that has gripped the Northlands could have dire ramifications.
Sounds like Tyrael from Diablo. I think this is one of my favorite cutscenes.
Let's keep all this in perspective. Even if this plague does pose a threat to us, what are you proposing that we do?
It is
I love
simple.
Uther's voice.
As I have said, the Kirin Tor are already prepared to place the villages under strict quarantine.
I will not institute quarantine without proof of your claims, Ambassador. The people of Lordaeron have suffered enough without becoming prisoners in their own land.
Hell yeah, Kakona.
Yet prisoners they are, good king.
What is the meaning of this? Who are you?
Humanity is in peril. The tides of darkness have come again, and the whole world is poised upon the brink of war.
Enough of this. Guards, remove this.
Hear me. The only hope for your people is to travel west, to the forgotten lands of Kalimdor.
Are you mad?
Old Ambassador, I don't know who you are or what you believe, but this is not the time for rambling prophets. Our lands are beset by conflict, but it shall be we who decide how best to protect our people, not you. Now, be gone.
I failed humanity once before, and I will not do so again. If you cannot take up this cup, then I shall find another who will.
So it's gonna have the orcs help them.
The warning has been given. Their fate is now their own.
Bye bye, Grandpa. I'll make a deal with the green boys. Vague warning, go west, confusion, I failed, oh dear. He could have said like, the Burning Legion is coming and I have seen in the future that you will lose if you stay. Goosebumps. What are you doing, stepson? I like how he found skulls to put on his knees. Wait, that's the Lich King armor, is it?
Ah, my son.
You no longer need to sacrifice for your people. You no longer need to bear the weight of your crown. I've taken care of everything.
That's that grin.
What is this? What are you doing, my son?
Succeeding you, father.
This crown looks so good.
This kingdom shall fall, and from the ashes shall arise a new order that will shake the very foundations of the world.
I think his dad didn't see his new armor and ask the right questions. It shows if you're really uninvolved in your children's lives and you don't know what's going on in their life, that like their life could take turns that you don't anticipate. That's why you shouldn't let your children join these Dungeons and Dragons cults. It turns them satanic. It's not a phase, Father. I want to dress this way. I bring you new towels. What's he saying? He's talking about new towels. Here, let me pause this for a second. I'll play the real subtitled version. See? It's really nice of him. When you're at the beach with all that sand, you want towels so that you don't chafe your skin too much. Though it's good for exfoliation, it doesn't always feel comfortable. Spitze. Darling. Dusk Talker. Oh yes, Alt Thomas. He's the train, I believe, that Archimon took to come here. Thomas is the train. With his darling Thomas. Rather reckless. Someone's rather reckless here. Choo choo! All aboard the reckless train. Now we know. Thomas the Tank Engine is a known lord of the Burning Legion. Greedy kids.
Belanora, Mordanos Nelar, il amor no falos cada.
I see. Very interesting. I'll try to keep that in mind. That's great. That's really great. Thank you, Archimand. Dada. Benin, he must be from West Africa.
So predictable. I knew you would come. And I see you brought the mighty Hellscream. His blood is mine. As is your whole misbegotten race. Misbegotten.
He missed. Target destroyed. Target not destroyed.
A worthy effort, but futile. The boy believed you could be saved, but he didn't know what burns within your soul. When in your heart, you know we are the same.
OTK. That was like 1200 damage crit. Take care of my son. Make sure he doesn't turn into a jackass. Surely you won't.
The blood haze has lifted. The demon's fire has burnt out in my veins. I have freed myself. No, old friend. You free.
He only heard no, then he died. He didn't hear their next. I don't think you should play around with words when they're about to die. Just say, you freed us all.
Us all.
Sorry, am I ruining the sanctity of this? Thrall can speak to him later, he's a shaman. Okay, just say no. You doomed us all. And then when he's on the other side, you like summon the spirits like JK lol. He will see him in Shadowlands expansion. Right. Oh no, this world tree is doomed. What's he doing like right this instant? I know he's looking to kill it, but I don't see a lot of actions in his body. Yeah, why is he humping the world tree? Foreplay. Kick a tree. He's molesting the tree, like the tree of life in the alpha footage. It was getting fondled by the tentacles of its roots. No beats, no! Our command! Bonk! It didn't even detonate yet and it already hurts. Yo, sick if that doesn't actually kill the tree. See all the fire around its roots? If only he wasn't the summoned unit. Yeah. He's like the Doom Guard. Better be an Infernal. Magic immune, bitch. Oh, it's growing new tendrils.
The roots will heal in time, as will the entire world. The sacrifices have been made. Just as the orcs, humans, and night elves discarded their old hatreds and stood united against a common foe, so did nature herself rise up to banish the shadow forever.
Yay, forever. No
As for me,
no wow.
I came back to ensure that there would be a future. To teach the world that it no longer needed guardians. The hope for future generations has always resided in mortal hands. And now that my task is done, I will take my place amongst the legends of the past.
Archimand was born inside Medivh's body, no? They were like Jekyll and Hyde, right? So how were they two separate... Oh wait, sorry, that's Sargeras. Yes, Sargeras.
Betrayer. In truth, it was I who was betrayed.
I love this one.
Still I am hunted.
Different voice actor than WoW.
Still I am hated.
Both really good.
Now my blind eyes see what others cannot. That sometimes the hand of fate must be forced.
This water looked damn good for its time. Better than Hollywood. The first time I watched this, I lost my shit. Did you finish watching before you changed your pants though, Frostbuddy? Or did you pause? I embrace whatever happens. I remember an old comic in the Netherlands. I was like, Daddy, I pooped my pants. And then the dad said, nice and warm. Go back to playing, son. Lekker warm in je broek. Why question marks? It was a comic. We thought it was funny. What do you think he said? The left one.
Now
That's my Naga Hydra impression. Never again. Oh shit, this one's so good. Everyone shut up. Okay, okay.
Forget this business. Lead your men home.
You lost your mind on this.
You lied to your men and betrayed the mercenaries who fought for you. What's happening to you, Arthur, son? Prince will find only death in the cold.
Complete the circle. Release me from this prison.
Be funny if it didn't fit his head. Like wrong size. Does it come in XL? Sorry.
Now, we are one.
Can he rule from up there? Or every time he needs, like, to give an order, he has to climb all the way down?
If you were a PC gamer back in the late 1990s and early to mid 2000s,
It's all the way, yeah, a long way to go down to the bathroom, but he might just be off the end. Maybe that's how it is, like, maintained, that tower? Like, being off the end to, like, reinforce its structure. Needs to climb. He just shouts really loudly. Do a goal run by on the human expansion. What? Goal run by. Go? What? He probably has permanent. Yeah, but that looked amazing. I like... Oh, wait, yeah, he might have psychic powers, actually. We don't want to do a goal run by. We're making frostworms right now. We'll attack in a few minutes. Oh, shit. Oh, jeez. Don't make me come down here. You wouldn't. Oh. Research advanced creature carapace. Sorry, Lich King, can't hear you. I'm just going to go early expo in tier 3. Yeah, it's just like 4-on-4 teammates. Jesus Christ. Did you watch the German cinematics ones? No, I didn't. Maybe next year. Maybe in 20 years from now. We'll do the German one. He has 2 cups tied by a string to communicate. He just throws some like icicles off, and like when they hear the clatter, they pick up the cup. It's possible. Yo, I've never seen that, AskQT. 1 day on 1 hour. Hell yeah. You watching FIBA World Cup? No. No. FIBA World Cup, no. Yo, thanks for the gift sub, all this then. Thanks for the subs, Billy the Wet, Grubby666, 9 Symphony, and Paradox WC3 with the 40 months. Happy 20th to the favorite game listened for. Thank you, dude. So, it is time to do some community FFA in W3 Champions in Reign of Chaos. Let's go. Let's go, guys.